There was an idea. Stark knows this. Called the Avengers Initiative. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people.
What is up, you guys, and welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast. I am Noxie.
What up, y'all? It's Kiko.
And Nickums.
And we are back with the season finale of Tangential tie-ins. Tonight, we are talking about assembling our own anime Avengers teams. This was a topic that we conceptualized about 3 months ago. Bet you guys thought we forgot about it. Well, we didn't. We were saving it for the grand finale because this is a super epic topic. What we did is we reached out to all of you guys out there inside of our communities, and we asked you to give us villain teams to build hero teams against. So you guys threw out a combination of different antagonists and villains from anime and manga history. We asked you not to go too crazy, so we excluded things like Dragon Ball villains and whatnot because we all know how those conversations would go. It's not very fun. So we asked you to keep it relatively grounded, and we had a lot of fun looking through all of your submissions, and I think we've grabbed some really cool teams. So what we're going to do is we are going to choose a collection of anime characters from different stories to combat these villain teams, and we went pretty in depth, so I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun with this. Before we get into it though, of course, take a look at the link tree down in the description. That is going to be where you see us on all of our individual social media accounts, other online communities associated with Project Manga like our Discord, ways to listen to the Project Manga podcast on audio only platforms like Spotify and Apple Music, and ways to support the Project Manga podcast, including our Patreon, which is going to give you a slew of perks ranging from early access all the way up to additional manga reviews. But getting into the topic at hand, the season finale of Tangential tie-ins, let's assemble some Avengers teams. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah, so we can start with the threat, the villain team, the existential threat that the planet is facing. So I got this one off of Twitter.
Yes.
And our boy Sensei LeGlove actually proposed my team.
Oh, this is Sensei's. He dropped like 5 or 6 of them in there. He was really enthusiastic for this topic. So thank you, Sensei. What's the team?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah.
This one I really liked or whatever. So this is a 3-person villain team. So the first one is any magical girl from Madoka Magica, and I'll say who I picked in a bit or whatever, but any magical girl from Puella Magi Madoka Magica. The second member, the Beast Titan from Attack on Titan, with a stipulation, with a mountain range of rocks and 3,000 yards between the teams or whatever, right, at the beginning of the battle.
So the Beast Titan is starting all the way in the back, comes up to the fight late.
Yeah. And Pito from Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, I remember this group. That's drastic, bro.
I love that.
So for my magical girl, I picked Sayaka Miki. So she's the blue-haired one. She has swords, high speed, and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I'll go into like the abilities of all these villains in a second. Sayaka's not really a villain, but she's one of the more villainous magical girls because, spoiler alert for Puella Magi and Madoka Magica, she does end up turning into a witch. So part of in Puella Magi and Madoka Magica, you have these magical girls and they are, hunting witches, but over the course of using their abilities, if they're not kind of using these healing items that they get from witches, they kind of their tainted soul builds up and explodes into this witch or whatever. So that does happen to her in the story, and also
that's pretty crazy how it's such an opposite.
Yeah.
It's such an opposite approach to the strong, like, magical girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually, I think I heard that Madoka is like supposed to be a deconstruction of that area.
It is definitely
anime.
a deconstruction of magical girls for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Okay.
And she's also, I feel like, one of the more weaker magical girls. Like if you're talking, let's say Homura, right? I can stop time, or Madoka, basically a god essentially. Those ones, seemed a little more difficult to think of how you could possibly beat this character. Right. So at the very least, I think you could defeat Miki Sayaka or Sayaka Miki. So went with her. So her ability generally, as I said, she uses swords. She can actually summon swords, so she can kind of just like generate swords from thin air and kind of like shoot them at you as a projectile. She's super fast. She's very proficient with swords, so she can like use a sword in melee combat.
She looks cool as shit. I just looked her up.
Yeah.
I haven't
She's
seen
cool.
Madoka Magica, but
right.
Yeah, me neither.
actually, we tried to watch it over at your house a couple years ago.
Yep.
Actually, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I showed you like the first 3 episodes, and
Yeah.
you watch the first 3 episodes. That's all you need to see to know like you got to keep going.
Yeah.
She because her wish. So basically, how a magical girl like gets born is you make a contract with this being or whatever, and you make a wish.
Yeah.
And her wish was healing oriented. Like she wished to heal someone else, and so her like magical girl power includes damage reduction, damage regeneration, and like pain reduction. I think every magical girl can do pain reduction, but she has like very heightened kind of regen abilities. So that's obviously a problem for our heroes.
Yeah.
She can also, one more thing she can do, she can like kind of create these like energy platforms. Like so she can like
can double jump?
Double jump. Yeah, she can double
that's
jump,
sick.
triple jump. Yeah, she can just jump off of midair.
Dude, she's strong as shit.
Oh yeah. No, she's quite powerful.
What a badass, dude.
A little bit more about the Beast Titan and Titans generally. So like Titans have damage regeneration as well. So like if you injure them, like they will regen.
Unless you hit their like sweet spot or whatever, right?
Exactly. There's like one major weak point, which is like the nape of the neck, the back of the neck, and it's like this like very small, like 1 meter long, 10 centimeters wide, like strip that you got to hit to kill a Titan or whatever.
Oh wow.
The Beast Titan, part of his like main ability is he's like kind of an orangutan looking thing, right? So he's like big ass long arms, and he can throw things super accurately. Now it's hard to say whether like that's the Beast Titan's ability or the Beast Titan in the stories, like just really good at throwing things. But basically, very, very, very accurate throwing and powerful throwing, and obviously a Titan, right?
Yeah.
Super big monster. And Pito, we know Pito, right? Like immense
raw physical capabilities.
Raw physical ability.
Yeah.
Right. So there's the team or
what
whatever.
a fucking team, dude. Shout out Sensei. That
Yeah.
I have no idea how I would approach.
Yeah, exactly. So can move into my squad, I suppose, my Avengers squad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So in terms of like the archetypes that I was trying to fill with my team, right? I feel like I needed a swordsman because since we're doing like anime Avengers squad, right? This isn't like, DC or Marvel.
Right.
This is like anime, right? Where theoretically all the villains and all the heroes are from various universes of anime and stuff.
Right.
And there's so many anime swordsmen. I figured I had to have a swordsman.
Gotta have one.
Gotta have a swordsman.
Yes.
And that also pairs well against Miki Sayaka, right?
Yeah.
I felt like I needed someone defense, like a tank or someone that could like protect members of the squad, you know what I mean? So I have like a defensive type. You need like a brain, like a big brain, a leader.
Fat brain.
Yeah. Now, leader doesn't have to be the big brain one, but like in my case, I just kind of made it the big brain leader.
That's cool.
And martial arts, like you need martial arts.
You need a fighter.
Yeah, like a fighter, right?
Yeah.
So I only have 3 people on my team. I have like some people filling multiple roles.
Oh, okay. So you got 3v3.
Like
That's tight.
Yeah, I kind of want to be a 3v3, right? Yeah. So here's my team.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
Which order do I want to throw this out here? I think I'm going to leave the defense for my
Your anchor?
big reveal at the end because it's not really the anchor. It's just more my surprising pick.
Oh shit.
So swordsman.
Yeah.
Guts.
Oh yeah, dude.
And partially because like he has experience fighting large monsters, right?
Yeah.
He's fighting these apostles, right? He obviously is a super expert swordsman. So like fulfilling that checkbox of swordsman is obviously Guts can do that.
Yeah.
But he also, it's not like he is overwhelmingly unbeatable, right? Like in Berserk, when he's fighting these apostles, it's usually like a very one-sided battle against him. He really has to like just put a lot of energy and effort into doing it. So it's not like he's overwhelmingly strong. He just automatically wins, right?
He's overwhelmingly strong, like obviously in relation to like other regular people, especially in Berserk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like I feel like even inside of series where you have regular people that are a little bit stronger than your average regular person, I feel like Guts is still a monster, like in relation to characters that come from relatively strong series. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good pick, but Guts gets his ass whooped a lot. It is a seinen. There's no like shonen power ups. You know what I'm saying? There's no like power of friendship. Like if you get whooped, it's probably a really drastic situation. So I feel like Guts is a great pick there. He's not too OP, but he's not too weak either.
Right.
Yeah.
His sword, the Dragon Slayer, also is like basically a magical item. It's killed over its lifetime so many like evil astral beings that essentially like has the aspect of like being a magical item, like a silver sword, or what I would like to say is like it can hurt someone with Nen, right?
Yeah.
Like kind of Nen,
Sure.
you like really need to use Nen against someone who has Nen. But like I would say that Guts' magical weapon, we can say like could hit a stand
Yeah,
or like
that's a
could
really
like
good
go through
thing
Nen.
to say. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that. A lot.
So yeah, Guts, first member of the team. The leader, the big brain, the martial artist, Jing Freaks.
Oh shit!
Right?
Yeah, Patel's taken care of now, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, you never know. You never
know.
know in the mix of action now.
And then, and so we obviously know about Jing Freaks or whatever, and
Yeah.
his immense, capabilities,
Yeah.
very similar to Pito.
Yeah.
Now my defender, Bartolomeo,
Oh,
the body no
body, yeah.
So he can
Oh
create
my
invisible
God, that is
barriers,
beautiful,
and he can use them
dude.
offensively and defensively, right? So like I feel like it'd be there's
Wait
the
a
team.
minute, bro, because oh shit. Okay, so Bartolomeo's. I'm sorry, I just like got super geeked off of Bartolomeo. I would never have expected
right?
Bartolomeo to
didn't
fill
expect
that
that.
role for any of
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of it now because obviously we don't know the limits of Bartolomeo's barrier yet. We haven't seen one broken, right?
Right,
So we
right.
don't know. That's
He does say in against Pika.
Yeah.
He says against Pika, like Pika's about to like in his huge rock form, right?
Yeah.
He's about to like smash him and a bunch of other people around.
Yeah.
And he said like my barrier cannot stop that.
Oh, okay. So city
now it's
level
hard to
damage.
say. Yeah, it's hard to say if that was like because the attack is so big, like wide,
Yeah.
that he couldn't make a barrier wide enough, or like would the attack be so strong that it would break the barrier? But
Yeah.
we've never seen a barrier break. But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. I think that's almost a little awkward since Hakuba is just like free attacking it and it doesn't break with Durandal. You feel like that would break it before a big Pika fist, but
Yeah.
so I would say probably the
That's a really good point.
city level concussive force. I don't know. Maybe if it's like taking a big like a hit up across a big area, right?
Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
lot.
Big area.
That has to. But like hitting a lot of the area of the barrier, it's like if it, sword slashes are going to be relatively small area
Yeah.
that's going to hit, even if they are super strong. Like Hakuba hitting it with Durandal.
Yeah, that's a
back-
big deal.
spinning,
Yeah.
this thing, like back and forth a billion times. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So okay, that's something you got to think about
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Right,
Dude,
right.
I love this team though. I can't get over how
Yeah.
tight this
Yeah,
team
I
is
do
because
too.
well, I mean, are you gonna well, I'll let you keep going.
But yeah,
Before I ask too many
I
questions.
could say a couple things in terms of like how would the team, like how would this squad of Guts, Jing, and Bartolomeo, like how would they
Interact.
work together,
Yeah.
right? How would they interact, right? And like one of the things I really like about this team is that like say Guts goes a little too hard and goes like berserker mode, right? Like
Yeah.
say the armor takes over and like he becomes a berserker Guts, right?
Yeah.
Bartolomeo could wall him off, right? Could protect him and Jing from Guts, right? Kind of direct him.
Yeah.
Kind of like, no, go this way,
Yeah,
right? You know
like
what
a
I mean?
sheep herder.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's
I feel
sick.
like Guts' battle experience and Jing's battle experience. Like I would say Jing is like the leader in this case,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
And like certainly like the wiki for Jing says like genius level intellect, and that's
Yeah.
probably fair, right? Like
Yeah.
dude's just like a genius, especially in Nen.
Yeah.
But in the ways of the world strategy, he was doing that big brain shit in the election arc, whatever.
Yeah,
right? So
he fucking, got exactly the results that he wanted. Came
Yeah.
in before the days, hey, Beans, they got this little notepad over here. We're going to need a notepad and we're going to need a trash ready.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
fuck,
Just
what?
because,
So-
like, even before that, just like
Mm-hmm.
Jing being able to elude the world's greatest hunters forever means you have to have some kind of tactical or strategic know-how. That's not luck. That's not your ability. Like, that's
Right.
you
Yeah.
going, I don't want to be found. How do I hide
Yeah.
myself from people whose job it is to find others? You know what I
Right.
mean?
yeah,
Like, that's
definitely.
that's a really, really big deal for Jing. So
Right.
I feel like he's
And I feel
great
like,
in that leader position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jing and Guts together, I feel like a big part of any like anime versus battle is
Mm-hmm.
like figuring out abilities and figuring out like how to overcome your enemy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
the abilities are so ranged and varied and deep and complicated.
Yes.
That I think Guts and Jing together could or even maybe just Jing by himself, right? Could
Yeah.
probably figure out anything over time.
Yeah.
So which is
Yeah.
going to be huge especially in this battle against the Beast Titan, right? Because
Yeah.
like such a big target, Guts is going to be used to like just going crazy,
Going
just
crazy,
damaging
and
it
he's gonna be
everywhere,
like,
but it
nothing
won't
is
do
working.
anything.
Yeah,
right. It
yeah.
won't do anything. So they'll have to like really use their brains to figure out how to beat the Beast Titan.
Yeah.
And like both the Beast Titan and Miki Sayaka, like there's like a maximum to their output, right? Like if you use too much energy, eventually it's going to like the Beast Titan will stop regenerating, will just like kind of just fizzle away eventually.
Yeah.
And Miki Sayaka will eventually like turn into a witch, and then you'll just have like that end battle
Right.
of the witch or whatever. But yeah, like I think the team it's Bartolomeo's like the wild card, right? Like
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much a different personality, but I feel like
Yeah.
then you got stuff like the gag aspect, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
if we're gonna make this into an anime, you gotta have some comedy.
You
know
gotta
what I
have
mean?
some comedy. I could see Bartolomeo, like obviously being as useful as he is. You're not going to hear
Mm-hmm.
too many complaints from Guts and Jing once they see what his ability is, but his personality is going to get on their fucking nerves, bro. He's gonna fanboy for Jing or Guts so hard,
Right.
bro. So hard.
Yeah.
if he fanboys over Luffy, right? Like
Yeah.
presumably fanboy types,
Yeah.
you're aware of the Black Swordsman. You're
Yeah.
aware of like one of the most famous hunters, you know what I mean, in
Yeah.
the world, right? So
Yeah.
he's gonna
Yeah.
fanboy over everyone. You know?
Definitely.
That's so
Definitely,
right. Those
definitely.
two have so much notoriety between the two of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Bartolomeo's gonna be wearing a Guts t-shirt with a number 1 foam finger with Jing's name underneath it,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
fight. Like, but the
Jing,
foam
can I
fingers are
get your
gonna be
artifacts?
cross fingers so that he can still use
That'd be
body.
Yeah. Can I get your autograph, son?
Yeah. Dude, I love this, and I'm trying to think of like. Because I'm thinking of, I mean, I'm not familiar with Madoka Magica, and I'm saving Attack on Titan for it to finish so I can go through
Yeah.
and just binge the whole thing, which I've said
Right.
before. But I don't care about spoilers, so it's fine that you're saying like spoiler things for Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
but
same.
They're very minor spoilers,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
in terms of how the Titans work or whatever. Yeah.
right,
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
absolutely. And just in case like the conversation evolves into something a little bit
Oh,
more
yeah,
spoiler
yeah,
heavy,
yeah.
it's definitely
Yeah,
not
yeah.
something you need to worry about, at least for me. But
Sure. Yeah, me neither.
and I think Kiko just said too that he doesn't really
Yeah.
mind. But as far
No,
as
I
like
don't mind.
yeah, as far as your villain team, it's like I'm not familiar with Madoka Magica. I'm not familiar with Attack on Titan, but I am familiar enough with Attack on Titan. I know how beasts work. You just explained a Beast Titan. I haven't seen him in the story yet, but I think I get it. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to think of like how the villains will like interact with each other and how they work as a team, because it's like
Sure.
because it's like
Beast Titan. Okay, this is a good
Yeah.
question, right? So like,
Yeah.
how would the villains interact? So Beast Titan's the leader. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Pito obviously
It's a
incredibly
sword.
intelligent.
It's a weapon. Yeah.
Yeah, but mostly like huge damage.
Yeah.
Like the Pito is someone you turn on your opponent and be like,
Yeah.
just go have fun and go
Yeah.
kill them, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's probably what they're gonna want to do anyway, right?
Right.
And Miki Sayaka also, I think she'll be very like straightforward or whatever, but like definitely like in a position to take orders. She's not really the type to take orders, but I think because she's not interacting with other magical girls, like there's a lot of like conflicting like opinions between the magical girls and in terms of like who they should save and what they should do and what their motivation should be and everything. I don't think she'll have like those level of disagreements with this team.
Yeah.
And the Beast Titan, I guess as a minor spoiler, like he is like very much a leader in his day-to-day life or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think he would be the leader, and yeah, I guess it would be mostly him just telling them a basic plan, like just do a
Yeah.
basic plan and like let's just
Sure.
see how it goes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah, for
he
sure.
would probably
Yeah.
be doing most of the improvising. Yeah.
What your team seems like, I envision it in similar to kind of how I constructed my teams too. Like Guts as a front line, Jing as like mid, like
Shot
he can
caller.
be front line as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's in the middle because
Yeah.
he is going to need to call, between Guts and with Bartolomeo in the background, putting, he's your caster, your backline,
Right.
throwing up, defensive spells and whatnot. So, but the threats, it's like it feels like Picho and your magical girl are both frontline, and
Yeah,
that
yep.
the Beast Titan could be frontline, but he's 3,000 meters away or whatever
Yeah.
with rocks to throw or whatever.
Yeah,
Sailor
like-
glove, you bastard. See, the thing is that like Jing is going to be able to tell Bartolomeo where to put his barriers at
Yeah.
the drop of a hat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if Bartolomeo fanboys over Jing, I feel like this is going to be the better route because Jing
Yes.
is going to be shot calling, and you want to be
Yeah.
able to like command your pawns in a way to where
Yeah.
there's no backlash, there's no questions. If Bartolomeo is a hardcore fanboy for Jing, he's going to do anything Jing says the moment that Jing tells him to do that. So
Yep.
that's going to be really good for strategic placement of like defense throughout the fight, I think, because if you have the Beast Titan throwing rocks from 3,000 meters away, obviously those are going to be raining down on the battlefield, and that's going to be disrupting the flow of combat for the protagonist side. So Jing is probably going to focus his strategic know-how. Man, but you have Pitou on the front line. It's like, right? Let's figure out how to deal with the Beast Titan. Meanwhile, Pitou slapping everybody up.
Can Bartolomeo have a big fucking curtain barrier that's going to block all these fucking rocks that are being thrown from the fucking Beast Titan?
I think
also, so he can do that, sure, but also, very precisely managing his barriers on the actual forefront of the battlefield to help Guts. Like that's a big task.
Because he has defense against the raining rocks, and then he has on the spot defense against any of the frontline attacks that Pitou and old girl from Madoka Magica dish out in the close range side of things. But I think that we're thinking that Bartolomeo is the only defense, because like Guts and Jing's defense is nothing to scoff at either. You know
No, definitely.
You know, so I don't think Bartolomeo is going to be too overstressed trying to protect everyone from every single little bit of damage. You can let Guts get beat up. He is the frontline tank for a reason, and he's got armor. You know what I'm saying? So throw him in the front line. Maybe he gets a barrier when it really matters, but for the most part, just let him get busy. Bartolomeo can focus his defensive capabilities in, can allocate it, according to what Guts needs or doesn't need in a moment. You know what I mean?
Well, and what Jing needs too, because it's like if Jing is going to be so hard without not knowing, Jing's net ability, like I feel like he's not an enhancer, right? Like he does not feel like Gon. So I feel like he's probably
I want to say he's a transmuter. I said he's a
transmuter. He seems so conniving,
very reserved, conniving, brooding, calculated. You know what I'm saying? Like in the corner, like shady backdoor deal type dude. But then like enhancer is what he shows you. You know what I mean?
I would say it's safe to just say he probably has mid-range attacks. So like him being in the middle of the fight, basically the mid-range of the three characters, so he can also dictate, battle strats. If just Bartolomeo shields him, you shield Bartolomeo gets shield too, just based on the fact that he's backline. Like and unless Pitou blitzes backline real fast, which I think Jing will stop. Right, like that's when Jing would have to come out of formation and throw hands with Pitou for a little bit.
And you're going to see like strategic depth on the villain side of things too. Like the Beast Titan is going to throw one rock that runs into that barrier, and he's going to go, okay, we need to deal with that guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a situation where I don't know if the Beast Titan, they can speak, right?
He consider him a human. He's basically human level intellect.
So he can talk to them. So like he will be able to tell them like, yo, this barrier is a big deal. Maybe we should like switch things up a little bit. Maybe send Pitou to the back line and see how they deal with that. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously Pitou's going to have a hard time dealing with the barrier, but then you got Jing at close range. Obviously, I want to say that Jing whoops Pitou at close range, but then while Pitou is leading that charge, obviously Guts isn't just going to stand there and do nothing. But I really think that this fight doesn't just turn into separated 1v1s. You know what I'm saying? I think that there's too much strategy on the Jing side of things.
Definitely.
And I think that the Beast Titan is capable enough as the leader to understand that 1v1s are not going to work, because Jing's just going to put who needs to be where, the best matchups where they need to go. You know what I'm saying?
I got a huge question for this battle that I just thought of. Can Pitou use Terpsichore on the Beast Titan?
Damn. Okay, remind us what Terpsichore does. It's like controlling like a puppet, like marionette style, like enhancing the abilities of the controlled.
I think you need a corpse though.
Oh,
right?
Does it have to be?
I think you need a corpse. I'm only saying that because of Kite. I don't remember if the soldiers that Terpsichore was using on the perimeter of the Chimera Ant territory, I don't know if they were dead. But I know Kite was.
They
can use it on themselves.
They can use it on themselves. Yes. So Pitou can use it on themselves, but I don't know if that means that they can use it on everybody else.
Right. I guess it's unclear. I would say though that like I'd probably imagine you couldn't, just because of the size of the Beast Titan.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, then you're
Like,
magical girl though, like
Yeah.
enhancing
Yeah,
her
yeah.
abilities too. Like
Yeah,
that's it's
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Like I also think that Bartolomeo, even being the defense, I bet he would actually be the guy needing to be protected, in this
Yeah.
fight,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah,
Because
yeah,
So
definitely.
Yeah.
quickly, like as y'all said, like Beast Titan be like throwing rocks or whatever, and like being blocked. Okay, well that's the guy we got to take out first, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, like kill
And-
that guy first.
Yeah, and Bartolomeo is the least like capable offensively on your team also, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yep.
that's definitely something that I feel like the mind on the villain team will be like, okay, this dude can't fight and he's all defense. Let's just get him out of here and then we can deal with
Right.
the two, fighters after that. I feel like that'd be safe. So, okay, so Nick, so what is your bottom line? I don't know if you brought it up already, but like what is your bottom line on why your hero team beats your villain team?
That's a good question. So I
Yeah.
mean, like, definitely how I imagine the battle starting right at the beginning, and I kind of imagined the villains being together. So like together, that all three of them are 3,000 yards away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And so like right away, Beast Titan just throws a bunch of rocks, and then Bartolomeo kind of blocks it with a barrier, right?
Yeah.
Then what happens is I imagine the Beast Titan throws Pito and Sayaka at them. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So like he'd throw like Pito behind them and
Yeah.
Sayaka in front of them to pincer attack them. You know what I mean?
God, that'd be so sick.
And then at least for a little bit, then
Yeah.
you get two of the craziest fights ever, right?
Yeah.
Sayaka versus Guts, which
Yeah.
is like super powerful, slower sword master
Yeah.
versus like super fast,
Yeah.
less strong, but like
Yeah.
still incredibly superhuman strong.
It would
Like,
be
like
like,
the craziest sword battle ever.
It'd
You
be
know,
like Talum versus Nightmare from Soul Calibur. If you guys ever
it's
played
been
Soul
so
Calibur.
long. It's so long
Yeah.
since I played that.
I know exactly what you mean.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, Soul Calibur fans, you feel me?
And then you get Jing versus Pito, which would
Yeah.
be one of the most epic battles
Oh my God,
ever to happen
I
in the
need
Hunter
it.
universe. You know what I mean?
I need it.
And
I've
then this
been
huge
needed that.
melee. Then this
Yeah.
huge melee between the five of them. I guess you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Beast. I imagine the Beast Titan probably would not have much
To
need
offer
to
like close range, yeah.
Yeah, like why would he go close range
Yeah.
unless it like? But eventually, obviously, the heroes are going to be moving towards the Beast Titan, right? Like
Yeah.
the goal is to wipe out your opponent, so they're
Correct.
going to need to move towards him anyway. So I feel like at the end of the day, why I think the heroes win is
Yeah.
because I think that Guts maybe Guts couldn't necessarily like outright defeat Sayaka in a sword battle because of her speed and regeneration and kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think he can outlast her.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
if anyone
His-
can outlast anyone, it's Guts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
His
So-
stamina is so crazy.
Right. And I think also Jing would beat Pito.
Yeah.
And
I
maybe
think
it's
so.
possible that you do lose Bartolomeo in the battle. Bartolomeo, like a hero goes out fighting, you know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah,
And,
yeah,
like,
absolutely. We
but
should
at
be
the very
totally
least, like-
prepared for one of or multiple of our people to die, I feel like, in this
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
situation.
And if anyone's
because
dying, it would be
it
Bartolomeo.
would definitely
yeah.
be Bartolomeo. I think,
Yeah.
and I love your outcome here. Honestly, I think I agree with everything that you've said. I think after maybe even if they do take out Bartolomeo, like because obviously if Guts kind of loses to old girl, but
Mhm.
Jing definitely beats Pito. Then like
Mhm.
if they take out Pito, then Jing can help Guts beat
Right.
Sayaka with support from
Right.
Bartolomeo. But if Bartolomeo gets taken out and then it's just Guts and then Guts loses to Sayaka, right? Is her name?
Yeah.
Then Jing, I feel like Guts wouldn't die to Sayaka,
hmm
right? So I feel
Right.
like even if Guts is losing in that fight, if Pito is taken off of the board and Bartolomeo is gone, Jing's
Yeah.
support for
Yeah.
Guts versus Sayaka wins that fight. And I know that the
Mhm.
Beast
Yeah.
Titan isn't going to just sit there. He's going to be throwing
Right.
things, especially if Bartolomeo is out of the question now.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it is very accurate, but I feel like Jing can deal with that. I feel like
Yep.
Guts
Yeah.
can take it, even if he
Yeah. Or
can't
dodge,
deal
yeah.
with it. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
feel like Guts is going to, Guts can probably dodge. He's not going to take
Some of
every
them,
hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not gonna take every hit.
Yeah, but Guts can take those hits, and then I feel
Yep.
like they can deal with that until they beat Sayaka, and then a combination of Jing's mind and Guts'
Right.
brute strength will take out the Beast Titan at close range, in my opinion. So
exactly. Yeah, it's going to be like this crazy battle of like, Jing and Guts running up the arms of the Beast Titan.
Dude.
And, like the Beast Titan, like they're like jumping around and shit. And and if Bartolomeo doesn't die, say he does last to the end of the fight, he could easily make platforms for Jing and Guts to be jumping around the Beast Titan.
Oh my god, bro.
And they just don't have to even deal with like the onslaught of rocks being hurled at them as they advance on the Beast Titan. Because that's the thing too, like Jing, man, I would want to say that if Jing took repeated fucking mountain-sized rocks, because the hunter power scaling level isn't that high, and even though Jing's the peak of it, I would say that Jing could eventually, like, especially if it was like, you got to run 3,000 yards right at him, and if you took 10 of those on the way,
that's a big deal.
Jing might, whereas like Guts, probably could beast him. I don't know, but like regardless, if
Guts can definitely cut through the ones he's ready for, and so he won't take that damage. But the ones
and it's
that
like,
he does
what
take,
can Jing do? Can Jing cut through him? Can Jing fucking, who knows? Like, is
I feel
Jing
like
a
Jing could
specialist?
definitely destroy a boulder, but with the momentum of the toss, I feel like that might be a really big deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Because they're coming at speed of sound at you.
Sound barrier boulders.
I don't know about that fast, but they're coming.
They're
very
coming fast as shit, man.
But I do think Jing could probably dodge most of them.
Yeah.
Like where Guts is probably gonna dodge some,
Jing's
but tank
got after
most.
images guaranteed.
Yeah, Jing
You could
is
see
super
Guts doing one of these, like punching it and running as it.
Hit and
Tink,
tink.
Or just even just like, I'm getting hit, but I'm deflecting as I get hit, and I'm powering through, and I keep. So you can see him doing a couple of those.
An epic fight, bro.
I just want to see it animated so bad. I'm like, some like super choreographer just like Togashi, please choreograph this fight as you think it would happen, right? Like, oh man, it'd just be so sick.
Oh my god, that would be incredible. I love that team. Shout out to Sensei once again. That was
thanks.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a fun one to think about.
It was an awesome villain team, dude. Okay, Kiko, I'm super excited for your fucking team, bro. What do you got, man?
All right, I got my team from. It's from the Worst Gen podcast account, so probably GB. But
two Worst Gen accounts. That's sick.
Worst Gens.
They got some good ideas out here.
Worst Gen podcast, same thing as Sensei, like 4 or 5 different suggestions. So it's like when I'm combing through them, like this one just jumped out to me big time, and it's Gojo. Satoru Gojo. Yeah, I know. As a threat. I know.
There's your threat. It's fine.
Good fucking luck, dude.
So, anime only Sinbad. So that's the end of the second season, which is very fair because if we go too much farther, I can't pick him.
Yep.
And then Orochimaru.
Oh,
god damn, bro.
Yeah, those are my 3 threats here, and I picked the team because. Like Gojo and Sinbad both have this moral gray area about them, so like it's not too far fetched that they would work with like a total piece of shit like Orochimaru, right? Like like if they need to win the fight, if they need to win the fight, they're like, all right, bet Orochimaru's reviving people. He's got summonings, whatever. We'll take him on the team. Fuck it,
we could use him.
And so, and all 3 are intellectual types. So like, I don't think like a strong personality would get in the way of like their strats and trying to win the fight. They're going to be so like
logic and reasoning based.
Like Gojo's going to be dismissive of the other 2, just like believing in his superiority. So he don't even give a fuck like what they're talking about.
Sinbad's gonna be like, man, you lucky on the same team because I heard about you on the internet and everybody thinks you cold, bro, but I got something for that ass, bro. Let me wait till we see.
Like 2 or 3 more seasons after this anime here. I'll see you after that. But then Sinbad would just like think that they're both very interesting people, and like he's just gonna want to work with them because he's just like, ooh, like I just want to know everything about everybody, and all this shit. So like, and ultimately to manipulate them in the end anyway. Like he just wants to find out what what makes them tick, so they can eventually, whatever, take their minds over. And then Orochimaru, it's like same thing, kind of like just thinking, hey, I'm gonna work with these guys because at the end of the day, I want them to die so I can Edo Tensei fucking revive them and use them on my team.
I need new players.
I'll take
So what are
these two.
what are the abilities of like say Sinbad, you know, or
Oh yeah,
you
because
go over all of them.
yeah,
sure,
you should go through
okay.
at least Sinbad just because we don't cover that, and
Yeah,
it's not Naruto,
So-
so
Well, and Gojo, I'll talk about quickly. I
Yeah.
mean, if
Yeah.
you're watching the anime, you should very well, know at least roughly what he can do. At least you need to know about his infinity. Like, that's the biggest thing. I mean, the domain expansion's huge too, which is a question like, does domain expansion count in this fight or not? If it does, I have measures against it.
The worst gen guys are gonna be watching this and be like, "God damn right, the domain expansion counts. Find a way to deal with that shit."
Yeah.
All right, fine. Domain expansion counts
I
for
can
Gojo.
see Sensei right now, like, "What you mean?"
I mean, it's like I got anime only Sinbad though. It's like we were gonna take things at face value and be a little different. But regardless, that's fine. I did kind of come up with countermeasures against, and that's why like my team kind of seems a little overpowered just because I knew they had to deal with domain.
Well, I mean, when you have
expansions.
Gojo, I mean, like we said to keep it, like relatively grounded. You know what I'm saying? But like Gojo isn't like a One Punch Man or a Goku, or a Dragon Ball level threat. Sure, he probably scales up towards them to some degree. On the defense, on the defensive side of things, especially, you know what I'm saying. But like, I don't know. I don't think that Gojo is too ridiculous. But I mean, if they're going to throw Gojo in there, then like, audience, be ready for broken hero team. I know that we kind of wanted to stay away from like wildly broken like hero teams for the sake of a compelling conversation, but I think Kiko.
You got to beat the threat.
Yeah, I think Kiko got this.
I'm in a big trouble here.
Yeah, but I think you got it.
So Sinbad now has conquered 7 dungeons, which means he has 7 gen equips. But throughout even the manga, we only know 4. So I can only really go off 4. I don't know what the other 3 do. First one, Bale, from the very first dungeon he conquered, turns into a lightning dragon and can basically summon lightning and use lightning properties and fucking shoot you with a big giant extreme magic lightning erasure beam, basically. Like, and that's just the first one.
For those of you who don't know about extreme magic, think True Magic from Black Clover.
Yep. And so then Folklore is a wind-based version of that, basically. So the same things with wind create giant typhoons and tornadoes and shit.
Sure.
Zepar,
too much, man.
Zepar is sound attacks. He screeches and yells, and the vibration in the air just kills everything, and can also yell to your mind and put himself in your mind and control you. Control up to 3 people at one time.
What?
Yeah. Mind control. 100% full control over you, and it's like a binding vow with Sukuna where you don't remember what happened.
Okay.
I'm like thinking of the laundry list of Sinbad capabilities, like, and I don't know where the anime like cuts off, but
the most broken one, Veil 4, is like an ice Ninetales, but it's like Bobby Drake can freeze things to absolute zero, stop time with like stopping molecules, stopping like the flow of fucking
There's so much.
So you get a bullet shot at you. He can freeze the bullet in space, essentially. No movement at all. It's so cold.
Removes all of the kinetic energy.
What he also does too is he slows like the space around you, so everything you see is at normal time, but you're really moving like So
it's kind of like Gojo almost a little bit.
Yeah. It's very similar. And then Orochimaru. I mean, I think most people know Orochimaru. Snake Man revives dead people.
A necromancer, shapeshifter.
He's got great taijutsu, fights with that like grass kusanagi sword or whatever. Very, very high durability. I think that's one thing that I think most people might overlook with Orochimaru. But he just kept taking like full power Tsunade punches to the face back to back to back to back to back to back to back.
Bro.
And he didn't like crumble or nothing. He was still hanging out. So like,
and it's like snake summon.
Yeah, of course. So you can summoning jutsu, Mandas, the big giant fucking. I mean, but you can summon a bunch of different giant snakes. Yep, you got that. You got
beer nuts.
He's got that out of the sleeve. Like fucking striking shadow snake out of the arm. Fucking like you just grab you with 4 fucking snakes that come out of the arm and slam you, whatever. So,
fucking Orochimaru, dude.
And the way that I envision at least their teamwork kind of working, and that's the same thing as what I was saying with Nick. It's like I picture Gojo being frontline with Infinity, right? Like you can't hit him, so like why does he give a shit about being frontline?
Plus, he likes that challenge of like trying. He likes seeing people realize they can't hit him, so he's going to go into the front whether he's told to or not.
He'd probably try and beat everyone by himself. He's like, I'm going to try and win without y'all immediately. Let's see how fast I can do this, right?
100%.
And so then I got Sinbad kind of like middle of the battlefield, because nobody can be a leader here because their intellects are all so high. So it feels like they will all like know the plan without talking about it and just execute it flawlessly based on each other's strengths. So like there doesn't really have to be a leader dictating anything.
Yeah, it's
so
just
when
a
I have
non-spoken understanding of the best strategic route to take. Yeah.
And so, like, I have Sinbad in, like, mid-range or in the middle of the fight, whatever, between Orochimaru and Gojo, and I got Orochimaru way in the back line. But the reason I got Sinbad is in the mid-range is he's going to control the environment, you know, fucking wind, lightning, ice, all these things. He's going to control the fucking battlefield.
Yeah, he's great at mid-range. That's great.
And then Orochimaru, the reason why I just got him in backline is because Orochimaru, I think I'm just gonna have him summon snakes and like charge, and then like, be in backline to revive. Like, okay, say Gojo dies. You know, we got Edo Tensei to bring Gojo right back.
Gojo. See, and Orochimaru makes so much sense in the back line because regardless of how proficient he is in close quarters combat, at the end of the day, he's a ninja. He can rely on gang signs the whole time in the back line. You know what I'm saying? So like, I totally like that.
Yes.
Would you also say he's of the three the most? I wouldn't maybe say fearful, but like the most, he's not going to try and like put himself out there to die.
Correct.
He's going to be holding back and like playing the long game and trying to like
Sinbad and Gojo are the same thing. They want challenges. They want to put their lives in fucking, you know, harm's way.
They want to see how strong their opponents are.
Orochimaru's is in the back, you know, taking the data down. He's figuring the shit out too, even if
he wants to win, but like he's not going to like try and like he's not going to get himself killed over it.
Definitely.
He doesn't want to be a hero.
Definitely.
Amidst the team.
Definitely.
That's a fucking cold-blooded villain team.
I don't know how you can.
Yeah, I'm super excited to hear how you deal with this.
How do you beat that? I have no idea.
I had to pick, like I said, I had to pick very strong characters, not planet busters, but very like broken ability characters.
Yeah, let's go.
So my front line to start off right away is I have to have a Saitama. I'm sorry I have to do it, but somebody has to take hits durability wise, and I don't think Saitama can land blows on people that freeze time and have infinity, right?
So you need his defense.
To have him. It's just durability. He's just here for disrupt. He's going to be running around the fucking fight fast as hell, causing chaos. I'm going to try to punch. Oh, I'm going to get slowed. I'm going to try to punch. This isn't going to hit. Like,
but try to hit me tholl.
Exactly right. Like, he's disrupted. So you got to look at some fucking crazy guy going all over the place.
So I just want to throw out here that this is amazing that already the first character on your team, Saitama, like the classic, like he's gonna kill you really easily. We already said
he's
he's
so
not gonna do any
here.
damage. No damage from this guy. He's just like,
exactly.
What do you mean?
He virtually he's just here as a diversion because he's just not going to be able to do anything.
Plus, who's he really going to listen to anyway? Like he's going to do his own thing the whole time, and that's just so happened to work out for your whole team. So
I mean, you know, if he's probably a 4 out of 10 in intelligence. You know, he's just there to just punch hard, right? Like,
I love that. So, that's so creative, dude. Using Saitama for defense. Who would have thought of that?
Yeah. Only defense, because you know you can't break him, right? Like if he's getting punched to the moon and jumping back, and he's not dying in the vacuum of space. Like I need him to take hits.
Coming back,
or in the atmosphere coming back on fire.
I need him for defense.
That's amazing.
And so my mid range whatever is Yukihime from UQ Holder.
Oh shit!
I need it.
Your team is so busted. It has to be.
Yes, and Yukihime is immortal.
It's like Esteth on crack.
Yes, very right. Very exactly correct. the strongest ice mage in the world, who also has the exact same abilities as Sinbad's Veil for, and can also slow molecules and freeze time, so they can cancel each other out. I needed that to be canceled out, basically.
That's so good.
And so she is immortal, but it's one of the stronger immortalities, but it can be dealt with. As in UQ holder, immortality can be dealt with. She can get her head put in a box, and she could be thrown into the fucking ocean. You know,
and I feel like these fights don't necessarily have to be to the death either, because I would assume, since we all have read a great deal of things, that like immortality would probably come up in this situation. You know what I'm saying? So like I feel like as long as you can pacify, you know what I'm saying, or you know what I'm saying, outright just completely like Kiko was saying, you know what I'm saying, like take your consciousness away from the fight, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that is a good enough KO, and we don't need to rely on death.
Yeah, for sure. Then my backline, which I don't even know if it feels right, backline, but it's Julius Nova Chrono, because I need more time. I need more time manipulation to beat these guys.
I need more time.
I need more time. Oh man.
Oh my God! Someone please quote that. Kiko 2020. I
need more time.
I have Julius Nova Chrono on my team because I need more time. That's incredible. I'm so here for it. Even it's busted, but your villain team is busted, so it's fine. And I'm sure that you will have. I'm sure you'll have an outcome to this fight that doesn't end in the destruction of the planet, or what should be the destruction of the planet. Even if you don't make the planet be destroyed, it still should have been. As long as that's not on the table.
That's also key, that these people can destroy the planet. Technically, like Sinbad can. Like it's hard to say. Like, Gojo doesn't actually destroy the planet, the rock of the planet, but can wipe out humanity with the fucking giant domain expansion or what. I don't know.
Or even just like running from fucking place to place and just casting purple left and right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like you might not be able to destroy the planet with a single attack, but if you ran around unchecked, you could make this place pretty unlivable if you wanted to. You know what I mean? Which is pretty much the same thing. Yeah.
And so, for my Avengers team here, I needed to make sure all three can escape the speed of sound, because if not, they automatically lose to Sinbad, because Zepar will take your brain over, and you cannot get hit with anything that's the speed of sound. The scream, if you hear the scream,
it's
you've
over
already
with.
Lost. You've already lost.
So when you hear the scream, like, how is there any way to break out of this mind control, like after it happens? Because how do you expect your team, your good guys, to realize that this ability is a thing and then avoid it, right? Like, wouldn't it be too late after they hear it?
Yeah, the main question is, oh wait, no, Gojo and Sinbad are on the same team. Okay.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing is that Saitama, I just expect him to be moving fast at all times and like not get hit by anything. I don't know, like that's like I just at least
the sound is so wide reaching and like all encompassing, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, even if you have a fast character, it's like, if it's a line attack, sure, good luck hitting him. But like such a huge like radio style AoE is like really hard to deal with,
and it is in a cone.
It's a cone. Okay.
Yes.
So it's not like a 360 degree like UAV.
Yes, correct. I shouldn't say if you hear it, you've lost. If you've got hit by the sound blast,
which is in a cone that has a shape that you can be on the outside of the perimeter.
Yes.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So that was a prerequisite of my team right away. As soon as you hear Sinbad, you're like, fuck. Like, all right, well,
and then he's like, but anime Sinbad, and you're still like, fuck, it's still Sinbad.
Yeah. It's still hard to deal with. And so like I said, I expected like the first spells to be casted were like big, like tornado typhoons, like to just disrupt the battlefield. And so Yukihime and Sinbad, like I said, can both freeze and slow time. So like
that's just a non-factor in the fight for you then, since they can cancel each other out.
Well, here's a big like caveat to Sinbad, right? Like he can only have one Jin equipped at a time, so he has to switch to
that's right.
Zephyr.
That's right.
He has to switch to
and there's
Zephyr
a channeling
to hit you
time
with
on
the
that.
sound attack.
There's a channeling time on that switch too.
That's helpful. That's helpful.
There is yes, that's a big thing I should have mentioned earlier. But yeah, so I picture Sinbad starting with putting out these elemental, disruptions on the field.
See what they do with that.
And then seeing how much like Saitama's going to basically be running around him, just running around, maybe causing his own wind fucking vortexes of his own by just running fast. But like seeing that, I feel like then he would immediately switch to Veil 4 and try to do the ice shit, right? Like, and he could definitely work that on Saitama. And it would have to be, at that point, Yukihime has to cancel it right away, which I think she could. I think she can move as fast enough to do it. Man, it's so hard to explain, like, Yukihime or Negi Springfield, like, within UQ Holder, because, like, to their fullest capabilities.
Do it
because,
as if
like,
people already, like, know what you're talking about to a certain degree.
Yeah, for sure,
I mean, if they want
definitely.
To, they can just look it up or
so,
go read it, you know what I mean? Yeah.
They both master dark energy, and so like the dark magic, they need to take it within themselves, and when they do, they basically imbue themselves with their magical property, which is ice for Yukihime, and she now has a big giant ice armor thing that helps her, like, it's slowing time down as she's moving too. So like I feel like she can get there in time to do that, and if that ever failed, Julius can just completely.
I forgot about Julius.
Yeah. So it's like
it sounds like she has a Jin equip almost.
Yeah, it's very similar, very similar.
Sure.
The only difference is once she's in that form, that's it. And she doesn't have to switch. Like it's and she's just going to be able to rain fucking ice, fucking spears,
whatever shape
anything
wants.
like and it's like fully controlling the environment, like, and how the ice, how like slowing molecules, and like you can just instantly start freezing your leg. And she even has an absolute zero ice coffin to deal with basically everybody and just win.
Stupid. Okay, so questions that I have about this fight, right? Because so as far as you have Yukihime, and then you have Julius, and then who was your third again? Saitama
just to run around. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm trying to think about it.
Just to run around. We could try to.
I mean, he's obviously going to do more than that. He's going to try to fight everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could hit Orochimaru. He could hit Orochimaru, but like Gojo could just meet him at the pass. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes.
And just let that punch run into infinity. So like that, I feel like Gojo, Gojo will have the mindset of knowing. Because like Nick said, he's going to throw himself out in the middle of the fight right away. And he's going to be like, I got this, guys. You guys could chill. Let me go ahead and do my thing, okay?
Right. Yep.
And he's going to go out in the front line. And like, I'm not saying that necessarily someone is going to show him something that he can't necessarily deal with. But when he's assessing the opponents, he's going to know who can kill Orochimaru right away.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's going to go, okay, this ain't hitting me. But, like, I can't let that hit my boy. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Gojo, while I do think that he is more than capable enough to deal with this, like, on his own for a while, like, Gojo is going to have to obviously play defense for Orochi. And Sinbad could play defense for Orochimaru too, but like I feel like
not as good as Gojo.
Not as good as Gojo, and I feel like Orochimaru is capable enough on his own to like deal with any threat. He's not just a squishy, you know what I'm saying, like backline character.
You don't actually know where he is. Just because you've hit him doesn't mean you've hit him, right?
Dude,
like
you crazy to think about.
You have substitution jutsus, you have shadow clones, you have genjutsu, which is crazy. He definitely can cast genjutsu.
This is tough because I can see your heroes like looking at what Gojo is doing and looking at what Sinbad is doing and going, okay, Orochimaru's got to go. Well, either we don't have to worry about Orochimaru or like they could either
he's
do
the
that.
Easy target.
Yeah, they could either do that and say like, okay, let's focus on Sinbad and Gojo and just like deal with this and like not. I feel like it would be stupid to say let's not worry about Orochimaru. So I feel like your team is smart enough to go, okay, based on the capabilities that we've seen here, we should probably take out that dude like switching armor every 15 minutes and like casting crazy spells first. And then okay, so what are your teams? I want to ask it like this. What are your team's answers specifically for Sinbad?
So for Sinbad
Yeah.
is just basically canceling him out until he wants to switch to offensive form, because we know he can't use Zephyr and he can't use Veil Force.
So he's
Folklore is just
untouchable.
wind. He's going to be using Bale. He's going to have to resort to using lightning, and that's his most destructive power.
Yeah.
And he's basically going to be sitting up high, casting giant fucking huge area lightning. I would expect, because I just don't think once he sees that Zephyr's not going to work, Veil 4 is not going to work, he's going to have to say, hey, I have to rely on just destruction. But here's my big question is, do you think Julius not only stopping time, slowing time, reversing time can nullify Infinity with reversing time?
Oh, well, I don't, man.
If you reverse Infinity, what does that mean, right? Like,
yeah. Because see, like, well, man, it's like when you start talking about Infinity, because like if you're talking, okay, like my Marvel comic knowledge has, you know, cosmic entities that represent certain concepts. So you have the physical representation of eternity, you have the physical representation of infinity, you have the physical representation of love and hate, all the way across the spectrum. Sure. Infinity in Marvel Comics represents time. Eternity in Marvel Comics represents space. So like if we're going on, if I'm naturally going to go off of that and say infinity is time, then in which case Julius should be able to spin that backwards.
It's a hard counter.
Yeah. That's
crazy.
And that's crazy to think about. You know what I'm saying? Because if you have control over time to that degree, and like obviously, you know what I'm saying, like infinity has to do with space. I know that infinity has to, you know, I know Achilles and the tortoise, you know what I'm saying? I understand that. But just based off of like what I'm talking about with Marvel Comics, you could attribute infinity to space. Since infinity to time. Since like Gojo, as far as how he uses infinity, is all relative to space. I mean, then you also have like space time being one thing. Right. So I mean, I guess you could still say that Sinbad, or I mean that Julius still counters them in that regard. But if infinity is just space and not time, for the sake of argument, I think that it comes down to Yukihime's molecule vibration control, because if you because if you can control the rate at which molecules vibrate, if you're controlling anything on a molecular level, Gojo, I mean, I guess you could say if you really wanted to, is doing things on a molecular level, but does he have like, and yes, he is wildly intelligent, don't get me wrong, but like does like is that something that he is specifically controlling molecule by molecule?
Tough.
Or I don't want to say, now you guys can disagree in the audience all you want, but just for the sake of this argument, I'm going to say Gojo does not control things on a molecular level, and he just so happens to be able to very strongly manipulate the molecules in his general vicinity as a whole. Like, period.
I feel like how I imagine his ability is like he has an idea of like the space he's dealing with, like this he's working in this space, and he just turns the direction that way. You know what I mean? Like like everything you're putting at me, no, like it just goes the other way, like away from me. You know what I mean? And so like, but I don't think he's like, so that one's going away from me and that one's going away from me. Like, or like a gravitational direction, but like kind of, but like it's all space and time and gravity.
It's kind of the opposite of that, really. Though it's
just creating more space in between you and him.
It just gets so infinitely slow that it'll never reach you.
Yeah, but I mean, like in a direction, right? He's not saying like each like that molecule of the thing does that, molecule of the thing does that. It's like in this direction, I'm out away from me. That's just how it works. It's like an attribute of space around me, right?
Well, I mean, literally what's happening is the finite space in between Gojo and his opponent. Gojo is saying, you only get to approach me at half the distance at a time.
Yeah, so you'll like never get there.
And you'll never get there because you can create infinite halves. So, like, as far as like Gojo goes, I want to say for the sake of this, we should treat his infinity as a time-related thing. Even I got another. So spatial.
I got another layer.
If you have more, then keep going. Yeah.
So we did establish at the beginning. So even if we deal with Gojo's infinity, we still have domain expansion to deal with.
Right? Oh my god! How do I forget about domain expansion? Yeah, what happens with domain expansion?
So this is why I had to have Yukihime on my team.
Oh, sure.
The ice coffins, like absolute zero ice coffins. She can put Gojo in an ice coffin. And even though I picture him still like prison realm, still being conscious within there because Infinity's like blocking it. It can never actually fully reach him.
But
I don't feel like he could cast a
outside
domain
of the
outside
Infinity.
of it. Because he has to drop Infinity, doesn't he, to cast his domain expansion?
Because the previous chapter said you have a hard time using your technique after you come out of a domain expansion. So then based on that information, we can assume that his regular domain or that his regular innate special technique.
So he can't drop Infinity within the ice coffin or he will die.
Yeah.
That's and I had to do that too because of Orochimaru Edo Tensei. Like it's like, okay, say Gojo just is flat out killed, which would be it seems unfathomable to me. But that happens, or Sinbad is just killed. I mean, if Orochimaru can just revive them, once they're revived, killing them again once they're dead is a different matter altogether. Like you have to like there's like some really weird stipulations. Obviously, there's the big one that everyone remembers. Like you have to like get them to like feel human again, so you have to like do some crazy, I don't know, emotionally impactful thing to them, which they're like, oh, I shouldn't be a fucking dead zombie ghost. I should be just dead.
So I think the main thing when it comes, because I'm obviously I'm just thinking about how to effectively neutralize Gojo. Because because I'm thinking about it, right? Because he has the Infinity.
Need time.
He has it. Well, so he has the Infinity. So a bubble around him, like you can't reach him inside of that. But that bubble around him is finite, right? So he has a finite bubble around him with infinite space inside of that perimeter. But on the outside of that perimeter, if you control the entirety of the landscape around that perimeter, does he get to just keep walking forward? And as the Infinity runs into the technique or the ability, it dissipates? I doubt that, right? So that technique is not going to reach him, sure. But like, what can he do outside of the space that he controls?
Exactly. It's just to nullify him. That was my number one goal on creating my team. It's like, just like fucking, I'm Brain Kun Ghetto sitting at the fucking table like, don't try to kill him, don't fight him, we can't fight him, if we try we're gonna die. The only thing we can do is seal him. So it's like I had to find out somebody.
And we know that seals work, so if you grab another character with a very highly effective seal, then I feel like that is
meant for sealing immortals,
unkillable people.
Yes, exactly. That's what it's meant for.
And honestly, it's like I never even thought about it. It's like everyone's like, okay, well, Gojo versus Yami, Gojo versus Goku, Gojo. Well, what about Gojo versus a character from a series that's all about dealing with characters you can't kill? You know what I'm saying? Like, how about that matchup? You know what I'm saying? Fuck Goku.
That's what you needed. I was literally stumped for a long time of like where to even start my team until I thought of Yukihime, and it's like, okay, I have a foundation now to work with.
Yukihime's
to deal with.
Bro.
To deal with time-stopping fucking Sinbad and to deal with infinity fucking domain expansion Gojo. It's like you need something to deal with those two things, and those are very top-tier abilities across all fucking fiction.
And
right?
you want to know what happens if you use Immeasurable Void against someone who's lived for 1,000 years already? You know what I'm saying? What happened? What does all of that information dump like mean? I mean, sure, if you just sat there and kept getting zapped by an Immeasurable Void, you'll probably eventually overload. But Yukihime could probably do things for a couple minutes after that technique starts, because she's so old. You know what I'm saying? So
there's
it's like,
a lot of talk about how these pure bloods or just whatever, these high level vampires who've lived for so long and that they are transcending space and time. They're moving from dimension to dimension and taking information from, just the infinite void. Doesn't seem like something that's like that. Like, obviously that's crazy no matter what, but like if anybody gets a couple seconds to still do stuff after getting hit with fucking immeasurable void, I feel like these vampires that have lived for thousands if not tens of thousands of years, that's why I couldn't have picked somebody. There's a couple other,
you can't even grab someone who's like hundreds of years old, because I mean you have the curses that were still susceptible to immeasurable void, like Jogo. Jogo's old as shit, you know what I'm saying? I think anyway, you know what I mean? But it's
Yukihime is technically 700 years old, but she spent so much time in a space with no time. So like
Yeah,
it's
so how
too
old is
hard
she
to really
really?
measure.
Yeah.
It's too hard to measure.
But still, like
So,
at the
like,
same time, though, it's like 100. Like let's say Jogo, because they keep talking about 100 years. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say, because I don't think we have an exact time on Jogo's lifespan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's just say Jogo's 100 years old.
Yeah.
100 versus 700
fair.
is a big deal. 100
Yeah, it
versus
is.
multiple thousand is an even bigger deal. So, like,
Yeah.
the immeasurable void obviously is still going to be effective against Yukihime, but not instantly.
Yes.
She won't go catatonic right away. She will be like, holy shit, this is crazy. This is probably going to take me out if I don't do anything right now. And she'll just try to do something before, you know, I think
And
that
it's
she
so
has enough
hard
time
to-
before she goes catatonic to respond.
Yeah, definitely. It's so hard too to like quantify or just, I mean, wrap your head around like what does molecular like alteration, I don't know, like what does freezing molecules do within a domain, right? Like
Sure.
Yeah, it's
you
a
know,
good question.
can she freeze her own space around her where she's just not susceptible to
Oh my god! I don't think so, because that's such a physical defense versus such a psychological attack. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like
it's a space. No, they put like it's basically a space and time where they both can basically freeze. If you're running fast as hell and you so happen to hit this space, you'll just stop. And even though you're not actually stopped, you're moving like infinity too. Like
the space of the domain is physical, but I feel like the actual effect of immeasurable void is not like physical damage. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's information sensory overload. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that would get through.
And here's a
physical
question.
barriers. Yeah.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Would Saitama be affected by immeasurable void?
Yeah,
right?
What does immeasurable void mean for
like we said,
Saitama? I feel like Saitama's
he's like a dumbass.
cooked.
He's like a dumbass.
I feel like
nothing
Saitama's
happens
cooked.
to him. I feel like he's just like, what are you doing to me? I don't
No,
understand.
I feel like he goes catatonic like right away.
You think so?
Yeah, I feel like he's just as susceptible to.
Yeah, he's the
immeasurable
most
void.
susceptible.
Yeah,
to
because I mean, like he's just a meathead. Sure, he can punch through anything, regardless of how physically damaging it is. He punched a fucking planet-busting attack. He evaporated it with a punch.
Could he outrun a domain expansion? Because if it's like, got some kind of channeling time, it just shoots right out the top before it can even get him.
That'd be so dumb. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Saitama is the most out of anybody. If you had to say who is getting fucked by immeasurable void the fastest, even though it's pretty much instant for everybody,
but
it's
as
fucking
you said,
Saitama.
Like it's a like a mental attack. Like you're getting information overload, and like I feel like I don't know. He's just
so dumb that the information like doesn't matter to him.
Yeah. Like I don't know. If it was a One Punch Man fight, if it was a One Punch Man fight, that is exactly how it would go.
Absolutely.
Right?
If this was happening
so
in One
like,
Punch Man, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. Although in this fight, I want to say Saitama loses to immeasurable void.
That's fine.
Fight.
That's totally fine. That's fine.
But I didn't think about it like that. But that's true. If this was One Punch Man,
that's
Saitama
the
would
way
just be
I
like,
thought of it too.
Yeah,
like, because I felt like nobody can take if they're ever allowed to take a physical hit by Saitama, they're done. So it's like I had to have Saitama being disrupt, but eventually being like either time frozen or fucking hit with domain expansion to just stop what he's doing. Like I assumed he was basically, and that's the thing. That's why I picked Saitama, because it's like he's my like sacrificial lamb, and I don't even know if he can be sacrificed, right? Like this is just a funny question to have. It's like
he's your Wobba Fett.
Yeah. He's got fucking reflect and all that bullshit.
Yeah, he's your Wobba Fett. Just throw him out there to take damage. It's not going to kill him. So just let him fucking be a fucking punching bag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Immeasurable void hits him and does like just destroy his mind, but like you still can't kill him. He's just like, bleh, you know, like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Sinbad hits him with the strongest fucking extreme magic lightning after he's catatonic, but he's just like, no. I'm just dumb and saying,
or it's like that episode of Futurama where the brain balls attack and make everyone stupid, but Fry saves the day because he's too dumb to be affected by the brain balls.
Yeah.
I love that. So Kiko,
it's hilarious.
What is your bottom line final statement for why your team defeats your villain team?
Is because I was going to have Julius nullify Gojo as much as possible, at least hold him there, while Yukihime can show Sinbad your ice shit is worthless here.
Yeah,
we're gonna counter each other, and you know, Saitama, I guess, is running around trying to get to Orochimaru. I don't know, fighting snakes or whatever. I don't know, but like, has to like fight through, and that at the end of the day, once Sinbad changes out of Veilfor, Yukihime can freeze fucking Gojo, and then probably just freeze everybody else and win too.
Yeah.
But even still, if Orochimaru is just not there, and he, you know, Sinbad freezes and dies, somehow gets resurrected, you got to freeze Edo Tensei. It just comes down to freezing.
It's all about like, the freeze, that big freeze.
All these fucking characters like come back to life in some way, or like have some broken barriers, or like so it's like Yukihime just needs to freeze all of them. This is just how it's got to happen.
For a villain team as broken as that, and for a team that you approached it with as broken as you did, I feel like you did.
It was hard.
You did an incredible job of keeping it grounded. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously,
no planets exploding.
Yeah.
That was my rule.
It's very easy to just say blow up the planet, blow up whatever planet they move to. Until everyone's dead, you know what I'm saying? Like that's It's very easy to do that when you have characters as capable as that. But
I'm picking Frieza, and he's gonna just step outside of his fucking ship and blow your planet up every time.
But for what you were given, I think you handled that beautifully, bro. For real. That was incredible.
I tried to take on the most OP one I could without being dumb.
And
with
it's good that, and even though we said don't be too OP, it's good that you chose an OP one anyway, because technically. You know what I'm saying? And that's
as OP as it can get.
That's literally as OP as it can get.
The ceiling.
Yes, that is literally the ceiling of what we would even allow in a conversation like this before we just say, okay, I pick Goku and then you lose. You know what I'm saying? So, I love that. That was beautiful. I was not ready for, like, when you said the villain team, bro, I was like, you have nothing. How do you beat You have nothing. Yeah. I was like, you have no answers. I was like, amuse me. You know what I'm saying? You fucking killed it, bro. Dead ass. Wow.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. This was a tough.
Fuck yeah.
I was stumped for a while on this one. I was like, why did I pick this one? I'm dumb as hell. Like,
good job, worst gen boys. That's GB, right? That's probably GB.
Yeah.
Or wait, was it from the worst gen account? Because that's leak, I think.
Yeah.
If it's from the worst, if it's from the worst gen account, I think that's leak. Yeah, or Lido. I can't remember who.
I don't think it's Lido.
Yeah, it's leak. It's leak for sure.
Yeah.
It's One Piece leak. Shout out to One Piece leak. You're a champion. That's an incredible.
Shout out to worst gen.
Shout out to worst gen in general.
And girls. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They got a whole squad. Yeah. Hell yeah, whole team.
They deep. Okay. So it's me.
Yes. Let's see what you got, buddy.
Okay.
This is your wheelhouse, so let's see.
This is definitely my wheelhouse, and I had a lot of fun with this team. Shout outs to Sanguine Blood XX on Twitter for the villain team that I have here. We have Crocodile from One Piece.
Nice.
Mahito from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay.
Shigaraki and Giganto Machia from My Hero Academia. And Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter.
Damn. So much to wrap my mind around already.
What a team. So, this team is cool because the reason why I chose this team is because I think that they have an incredible villain team dynamic inside of their personalities, even though it is very easy since 3 of these 4 or 3 of these 5 technically characters are all leaders of their respective factions. You have Crocodile at the head of Baroque's Works. You have Mahito at the head of the Curse family inside of Jujutsu Kaisen. And you have Shigaraki, obviously, as the head of the League of Villains. And for anime-only League of Villains, for manga people, spoiler, he's the leader of the Paranormal Liberation Front as well. So, we have 3 leaders and a character who could be a leader, I guess, if he wanted to, based on his capabilities, but isn't the kind that wants to necessarily lead. You know what I'm saying? So inside of just Crocodile, Mahito, and Shigaraki, I feel like that is something that could get hairy as far as like who's in charge. But at the same time, since they're all very capable leaders in their own right, and they're all very underhanded in regard to their tactics, there isn't really anybody on this team who has a very straightforward approach to anything. So I feel like even though it's very easy to say that they butt heads because of their egos, it's also very easy at the same time to say they all think they're manipulating each other and don't argue ever. You know what I mean? Crocodile thinks he's manipulating the other 3. Mahito thinks he's manipulating the other 3. Hisoka doesn't really give a fuck. He's just here to fight the strongest dude around. I feel like this is an amazing team.
I feel like if anybody's going to butt heads, it's Shigaraki and Crocodile. Like those 2 might, but, we'll see.
Absolutely.
So what level of ability did you give Shigaraki?
I gave
Like,
Shigaraki. I'm doing anime only Shigaraki right now, even though I do have answers for manga Shigaraki as well.
Sure.
But it's a tie-in episode, so I want to have options for both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Sure.
but we can definitely get into like what if it's anime only Shigaraki, what if it's manga Shigaraki. I'm totally prepared.
I was just curious,
that.
like, yeah. But if you had responses for manga Shigaraki.
Yeah, I'm totally prepared for both. Inside of
cool.
my hero team, I broke it down into a couple different classes. Obviously, we all came at this with an approach that, was, okay, who do I need in a specific field? Here, 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 and here. Now, you guys all had 3v3 encounters. I have 5 characters on the villain team here, but I have 7 different classes inside of my hero team.
Awesome.
And it's gonna make sense because nobody on my hero team is all that capable by themselves against this villain team. So I feel like... You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's grounded enough to where I can have more people on my team versus the villains. But so for my hero team, I've broken it down into 7 classes, like I just said. And obviously you need to have a very capable leader.
Yeah.
And then I also decided you needed some muscle, which is very obvious. To a lot of teams, you need the tank. I also have a tactician, which is also very common. I have a medic. I have ranged DPS, and I have 2 fighters. Nice. So that is my team. In the leadership position, I chose N.A.G.A from M.A.N.G.A Kill. And N.A.G.A from M.A.N.G.A Kill, I feel like is someone who is just one of the best captains that I've seen in manga, personally.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you just look at her and you can tell she is the boss of whoever she's rolling around with, first of all. One of the best character designs that I've ever seen. Shout out N.A.G.A, #1 waifu right now. She's bad. But N.A.G.A, as far as her leadership capabilities, from what I remember of M.A.N.G.A Kill, she's very level-headed. She's very cool, chill, even in the face of adversity. She doesn't get too riled up. She's always got a plan or multiple, depending on the situation, depending on the prep time going into the confrontation. If she has prep time, I'm not going to say that she's Batman tier, but she knows how to do shit with time. You know what I'm saying? So I love her for that. I also wanted to have a very a leader that had a utilitarian mindset, so that if there were characters on the team, which there are, that might not want to kill people, N.A.G.A is someone that you can't help but listen to. And I feel like just her rallying capability, she'll be able to talk some sense into some of the more naive members to let them know, like, hey, like, casualties of war is a thing. You don't got to save everybody. You know what I'm saying? So just so that we can completely throw that idea of the villains taking civilian hostages out the window. If you take civilian hostages, our team knows that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So that is one thing that I wanted to completely eliminate, because all of these villains will do that. You know what I'm saying? Crocodile will take a hostage. Mahito will take a hostage. Shigaraki will take a hostage. Hisoka will fucking take a hostage if he has to. You know what I'm saying? So I want a utilitarian leader so that we can just nip that in the bud. You know what I'm saying? Plus she's got...
Does she?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, does she get Susanoo?
Oh yeah. Okay, so here's how I broke this down. So originally, this villain team, Crocodile, Mahito, Shigaraki, and Giganto Machia, and Hisoka, originally Sanguine Blood only said Crocodile, Mahito, Shigaraki, and Hisoka. But because Giganto Machia is more of a weapon of Shigaraki's than a team member, I gave N.A.G.A Susanoo because that's the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying? So Susanoo is her Tegu, and Tegu inside of a M.A.N.G.A Kill is the energy system. Everyone's got this weapon that gives you a special ability. N.A.G.A.'s Tegu was originally Pumpkin before she lost her arm to Esteth. After she lost her arm to Esteth, she gave Pumpkin to mine and then got Susanoo. If I remember correctly,
that sounds right.
That sounds right. I think so.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, she had Pumpkin when she was working for the Revolution, and then she encountered Esteth for the first time. Esteth, no negative diffed. Literally, as soon as she came into proximity, she froze her arm, shattered it, and said, "You get to leave now. I'm not going to kill you because I want you to live with this embarrassment. You're a general. You lost as soon as you walked into my chamber. Go tell your fucking people how you lost and never come back here again." It was one of the most ruthless scenes I've ever seen. And literally froze her arm, shattered it, and then sent her out the door. So that was broken. But she had Pumpkin at that time, and then obviously you can't use Pumpkin if you only have one arm.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess
one
you
arm,
could if
definitely.
you I guess you still
Get a
could because she has the
prosthetic.
prosthetic, but she just said,
Yeah.
fuck it, I have Susano, you can have Pumpkin. So.
Yeah, that's better than Pumpkin.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, and Susano is way better than Pumpkin. So as a Tegu, Susano is a biological Tegu, and we've seen
Yeah, the only humanoid.
humanoid biological Tegu. We've seen creature style Tegu,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
but this is the first one that is like relatively sentient, can talk to you. N.A.N.G.A
Yep.
is kind of like Bisky in the sense that she has her Tegu do like household chores for her. You know what I'm saying? So like that's really funny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Susano is constantly like cooking and cleaning and shit. But but Susano is broken because he is a tank class warrior inside of a tactician style controller. So you have someone who's everything up here and can literally transfer all of that information to their Tegu with no words. So like that's a really big deal to have all of the brain up here, not have to verbally communicate to your tank. That's massive. Susano's ultimate is well, first of all, he has a gigantic lance. He has a gigantic mace, actually. It's a big pole with like 7 of like Zoro's dumbbell weights on the end of it. And he just beats you with that. You know what I'm saying? So like that's tight. But like his ultimate is that N.A.N.G.A can transfer her life force to Susano to enter his ultimate stage, which can do a wide variety of things. He's busted.
Damn.
Yeah, and also she's got air manta, so they can like ride around in style. You know what I'm saying? The whole team can jump on the back of a gigantic manta ray that flies. It's amazing. So they're pulling up to the
Akame-ga-Kill. Like the manga's just so much better.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Well, this is so much manga talk at this point versus like anime talk. But just, if you've seen the Akame-ga-Kill anime, you definitely need to go read the manga because the manga is like 10 times better.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Caveats. Caveats for N.A.N.G.A is that she can only transfer her energy to Susano's core 3 times before she kicks the bucket. So so she can't like spam that technique where she like puts Susano in Super Saiyan. So like that's a last ditch effort that I can see this confrontation bringing her to the ultimate capability of. So she's going to probably die during this confrontation. I just want to throw that out there. But that is my leader inside of N.A.N.G.A.
Because she already comes with 2 procs already used, right? Like that's just how it is. Like she already used 2 procs in the story, so like that's just how it is.
Exactly.
Like,
And so if she uses the 3rd, she definitely dies, or if she uses a 4th, she dies.
No, if you use the 3rd, you die once that ability is finished.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's like the 8 gates, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But yeah, so she's my leader. Couldn't think of a better leader. I also want to preface this with I wanted to stay away from the best character that I could think of in any specific class. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously I can just say Goku punches you to death in the fighter role. Obviously I can say anything I want. You know what I mean? But I want to keep it relatively grounded because as strong as the villain team is, they're not like holy shit to like every universe. You know what I mean? So I wanted to keep the hero team relatively grounded in that regard. Moving on to the muscle, this position I filled with Diane from 7 Deadly Sins. And the muscle position inside of Diane is amazing because when you have Crocodile and Shigaraki controlling the landscape the way that they do inside of
countered.
Yes, and not necessarily countered.
No,
but like you can do something. You know what I'm saying? If Shigaraki, if this is manga Shigaraki, and he detonates the ground and flattens it. Diane is a geokinetic. She can just reshape the battlefield whatever way her team needs. That's amazing. Crocodile, same thing. If he does whatever kind of, landscape manipulation that he does, Diane is an answer for that. Plus, she's just an incredible brawler. On the tactician side of things, I had a couple different options for tactician just because I figured this is going to be a class inside of all of our teams and there's like a finite pool of characters you can really pull from to like be really confident in your team on the tactics side. But I chose Norman because Norman's different. You know what I'm saying? Norman
That's wild to pick like a regular ass guy to sit in the back and do strats.
Right, because here's the thing, right? Like he focuses on like the smallest details of things and blows that up into this huge stratagem where normal people would see those like small details and consider them non-factors. Norman will take those small details and go, oh no, that's game-changing information. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like on the Norman side of things, that is just a brain that you need to have on the battlefield, especially when you're dealing with overwhelming opponents that like should justifiably wipe your whole team pretty quickly, because N.A.G.A doesn't really offer much on the physical side of things. Obviously, Norman is a very sickly boy who has no physical capabilities at all. So, and this is an aspect that we're going to come back to again too. But moving into the medic side of things, I know that we said no Dragon Ball, but my medic is Dende because he's not a fighter. He's literally just he's literally just healing, right?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Dende is less of a fighter than Norman, I want to say. You know what I'm saying? But when you have two very like not capable fighters on your team, this is something that your enemies are going to target. Yeah. They're going to go fighter, squishy, squishy, attack the squishies. When you know where the damage is going, your tactician can plan around that. Norman is going to know that the villain team is going to attack him and Dende.
Right.
So, since you know where the attacks are coming, you can effectively defend against where you know the damage is going. So there's that right there.
And Norman would definitely do that. Like, that's big brain shit you know he would do.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. For range DPS, I had a couple different options here. No one has said any of my range DPS options. So I'm going to go with Gene Starwind. And Gene Starwind, hey, Kiko, you know what I'm saying? You feel me?
That's about one of the last characters I ever thought either of you would pick.
Yeah.
So that's wild to me right now. I don't even know what to think. I don't even know.
I thought you were going to choose Gene. I thought you were going to have range DPS on your team, and I thought that you would choose Gene Starwind if you did. And obviously, I could have just said Vash the Stampede, but like I said, I want to stay away from the best characters in their respective roles. So I chose off-brand Vash the Stampede, which is Gene Starwind, right? He's literally like, you know, like when your family like your family's used to buying like Fruit Loops in the box, but then one day your parents came home with like fruit rings in the giant bag that like goes, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you're like, what the fuck is this? But it's like just as good almost, you know what I'm saying? So Gene Starwind is like the off-brand giant bag of cereal.
Is also one of your squishies. Like he could die too. Just like where like Vash, it's like he could take hits, but you don't really know if Vash dies or not. Honestly, I still really don't know if Vash dies.
Now, with a villain team as capable as this one, I would say that even though Gene is very squishy, he knows he has very good positioning and situational awareness. So he's going to be bouncing around and being sneaky and being Gene and doing underhanded shit. Definitely. The villain team might say, okay, he's squishy too, but like Dende is literally not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Norman is literally not doing anything. So I mean, like Gene, we could kill him, but he's shooting people too. You know what I'm saying? And, so like,
and he's not as squishy. Like he's only squishy in the fact of like, I mean, sure,
any one of the villain team one shots him. Period.
Yeah. The villain team, they're very strong. Like you can't get if Bungee Gum gets connected to his face, he's done for. Like, or if he obviously if he gets touched by if anybody gets touched by She-Ra, they're down. Like,
so my range DPS is Gene, just because like and like obviously my team composition is based on like capability in the battlefield, but I also chose characters that I would just love to see interact with each other. And I feel like Gene brings a level of comedy to the team where everyone is going to be constantly roasting him because I have a relatively intelligent team. So like they're all going to be like, what are you talking about, Gene Starwind? You're just a rootin' tootin' 6-shooter American douchebag, and we're all like trying to figure out how to save the world over here. Are you going to do something? You know what I'm saying? Like I could totally see that dynamic. For my first fighter class, I have 2 fighter classes, remember, and they serve 2 different purposes. My first fighter class is Aoi Todo. And Aoi Todo is my fighter because I need to see Boogie Woogie versus Bungee Gum. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
my backup fighter, if someone chose Todo, which I definitely doubted but wanted to have a backup anyway, was Edward Elric. My backup long range DPS was Fubuki from One Punch Man. Just wanted to throw that out there. My fighter number 2 is Luck from Black Clover. And Luck from Black Clover serves the fighting role in regard to speed. And Todo, you know, serves the fighting role primarily in regard to just a beefy, manly asshole that will punch the shit out of you. You know what I'm saying?
Luck and Todo together is
really
crazy.
Get ready. Okay, so
I love Luck because Luck is also that big ass bag of off-brand Fruit Loops, right? He's not Killua. He's not Killua, but he's kind of Killua, right?
Yeah, he's almost Killua. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to have Luck there because I wanted the lightning for reasons I'll go into. But I didn't want him to be as smart as Killua because that speed and those smarts, I feel like in conjunction with the rest of my team would just be too much for for the villains. But that is my team. The dynamic I feel like would be hilarious because Diane and Toto is like a perfect marriage. Tall girl, big butt. What's going on? That's a ship. Let's go.
Yo, okay.
You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Kiko, you just
goes like,
yeah.
I'm just like, tall. What are the limits on tall? Like 5 stories.
The taller, the better, buddy. Okay. So Toto's going crazy on Diane. I think that would be hilarious.
Oh my god.
Diane pop locks and drops and hits the ground and just.
Police, drop your weapon, Diane. Drops it like it's hot.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's a meme I saw one time. Anyway, this is my team. And as far as like team dynamic goes, that's pretty much all the comedy that I have involved. I mean, obviously, if we like really think about it, we could probably say that like the combination between like Norman and Luck is funny because of how like dumb and meat-headed Luck is and because of how smart Norman is. You can go into a whole bunch of things.
Sure.
But the main funny point I wanted to make was Diane and Toto because I thought that was perfect. So as far as
Gene and Gene and Diane as well.
Yeah, Gene and Diane
some
too.
Stuff to her too. Gene is a big womanizer.
Yeah, that's right.
Every girl he can find.
Right.
So like,
it's not a lie.
I don't know that. It's just so hard to like. It's like, hey, you're like, I don't know, 30 feet tall. Like, what do I say to you?
Yes, but as far as how I think this fight would go, man, like I was saying earlier, with the squishies on the team, obviously that's going to divert the eye, or that's going to divert the eye of the villain team. They're going to go, ooh, squishies, and they're probably going to try to take advantage of that. I don't think that this is the point in the battle that like decides it for the hero team. I think that the villains could very easily come back from a mistake like that. You know what I mean? But I think that that's just like something to consider. As far as matchups go, I think that Luck is a great matchup or is a great character here because no one has hard counters to Crocodile in the form of water or wet attacks. But Luck will turn that shit into glass, baby. You know what I'm saying? So there's that dynamic, but I don't think that Luck would do it on his own, right? So you need a Norman, you need an agenda, you need someone who has physics knowledge to a certain degree that can go, yo, this sand dude is going crazy. If only there was a way we could clump up that sand. No water? No water? Okay. Lightning, you know what I'm saying? Norman would kill that, you know what I'm saying? So
I love that. I've never considered Crocodile having other like nature-based hard counters than water, like heat to crystallize and melt the sand into glass. That's definitely a counter. That's awesome. I love that.
Absolutely. I wanted to find non-obvious counters to Crocodile because obviously I just say fucking Squirtle used water gun. You know what I'm saying? So like I didn't want to fucking do that. So I wanted to keep it cool. I also didn't want to choose, if I could, characters on the hero side of things that naturally encountered characters on the villain side of things. So I didn't want any like if Mahito's here, I don't want anyone like, I mean obviously Toto's here, but like I didn't want to do like a Yuji or like a Gojo or like a fucking Nobara or like you know anything like that. As far as like Shigaraki goes, I didn't want to have like a Deku. I didn't want to have an All Might. You know what I'm saying? Like so I it was hard in that regard, but I think that I did a pretty good job. I mean Toto and Mahito is one thing, but I mean, Toto's really just here for Hisoka because Hisoka is so broken, and we've been comparing, the versatility of Boogie Woogie to the versatility of Bungee Gum on our show. So I wanted to make them fight, and the way that I think this fight would go, even though I know that right away Hisoka's going to be like, I want that big gorilla motherfucker in the back, bro. I want that motherfucker because he's the only one. Like Luck and Toto are the two where Hisoka's going to go those. You know what I'm saying? And Toto is obviously going to be like, hey, Luck, I get it. You're the lightning guy. You want to fight everyone. You're all about the smoke in your series, but like you're Black Clover, I'm Jujutsu Kaisen. There's way more smoke here and way bigger smoke here. So let me handle this Hisoka guy, and you go fight everyone else. I can totally see that fight going that way.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, and just the fact that Jujutsu Kaisen fights and Hunter fights are very, 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 very similar, and that you need very high intellect to deal with your, opponents. Where like Luck will just run into Bungee Gum and lose.
Exactly. Even though Luck heavily outspeeds Hisoka. There are so many ways, which we heard in Hunter, from Moral as Moral and Knuckle are fighting Chitu. Chitu is blitzing them. And what does Moral say?
Mhm.
There's so many ways to deal with someone who's just really fast. You punched
Sure.
us like 500 times and you've done no damage. Sure, you'll
Right.
beat us eventually, but we'll figure out how to deal with your speed in the meantime. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like that's hunter-ish shit. You know what I'm saying? And
So-
Todo is probably the most hunter character inside of
Yeah.
Jujutsu
Definitely.
Kaisen. You know what I'm saying?
So here's a question for Todo versus Hisoka.
yeah.
Can Todo, like, because Todo can see curses,
Mhm.
can we assume that means that
Yes.
like all Jujutsu sorcerers have
Juryoku
permanent
and Nen
Gyo?
Juryoku and Nen are the same thing. They're
I'm saying,
so
but,
close
like,
that like you
Todo's-
might
does
as well
Todo
say
have
they're the same
permanent
thing.
Gyo? Does Todo see all
yes.
invisible bungee
No,
Gyo?
I
would have to
wouldn't
say
I
yes.
wouldn't say that he does naturally, but because we're sharing Nen and Juryoku,
There's something
Todo
he can-
would have learned Gyo at a young
Yeah,
age
yeah.
and would use it at all times. Yeah, absolutely.
Second question. Can Todo, using Boogie Woogie, switch places with bungee gum itself?
Here's
like
how
the
here's,
gum.
Yeah, here's
I
how
would say yes.
Yeah, so here's how that's interesting, but here's how I approach Todo versus
Yeah,
Hisoka.
tell me.
Because Todo is obviously a very show me what you can do. Like if you can show him what you can do first, that's great for him. If he's in a position where he's like, fuck it, I'm going to rush in head first, he's still not like, I'm gonna rush in and I don't care what happens to me. It's still a very cautious assault if he is taking the lead. You know what I mean? So I don't think that Todo's brashness will lead him to lose to Bungee Gum, even though if it was just Hisoka and Todo, only them.
Yeah.
I want to say Hisoka has the advantage. I don't want to say Hisoka wins, but I want to say Hisoka has the advantage in that situation.
I would say
because
Hisoka
this is a
wins, but
team fight, I can see it being a situation where even if Todo, like let's just say a miracle happens and Todo deduces Bungee Gum before he's affected by it.
Sure.
He watches it happen to other people, whatever. And then he goes to square up with Hisoka and he gets Bungee Gum applied to him, probably on defense because Todo's not just going to let himself get hit by an attack. So it would have to be when he's attacking Hisoka and Hisoka applies it on defense, which will be the moment that that Todo realizes it can be applied on defense. So now he's got Bungee Gum on him. When he boogie woogies and switches places, that Bungee Gum is not going to switch from him to who he's clapping in, right?
Sure.
It's going to stay on him.
Yeah.
Now if he's squaring
an inanimate object.
if he's squaring up with Hisoka and then gets Bungee Gum on him at close range, Hisoka is ready to deal with Todo on the Bungee Gum at close range. If he claps and switches with someone far away, and all of a sudden the Bungee Gum yanks Hisoka, you know what I'm saying, for a second in another direction, that's all the more time for Luck to come in and fold him up. You know what I'm saying? So that is something I feel like, that is a strategy that I feel like this team will very much so take advantage of once they understand what Bungee Gum can do. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to, obviously Todo is just broken with Boogie Woogie in a confrontation involving multiple people anyway. But like, especially after knowing what Bungee Gum can do, I think that they very easily neutralize that. Crocodile, and I'm only really talking so far about like what my heroes are doing to our villains. As far as what our villains are doing to our heroes, obviously we already have the plot point that they're going to try to attack the squishies. But once they kind of like have a lay of the land and understand the battlefield, they're all wildly capable up here too. So they're going to form their own strategic plan to deal with the heroes once they see their strategy, or their initial strategy at least, because we know that Norman's got like 17 plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like just based off, and we can talk about, you know what I'm saying, like all types of shit regarding this fight, but I feel like what it comes down to is Shigaraki and Giganto Machia. Obviously Diane tussles with Giganto Machia. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. Susanoo is there with an agenda. Susanoo, I feel like, won't really do much to Crocodile, obviously.
No.
So Susanoo versus Crocodile is not a thing. Susanoo versus Mahito is not a thing, right? As far as how to deal with Mahito, because Mahito is going to be the biggest deal in this fight, and I saved him. Because you want to say, okay, Hisoka is going to be on the front line fighting the strongest person he can find. He'll probably want to separate that situation to a 1v1 if he can, because that's where he's most effective. I doubt my team will allow that kind of thing after Norman and Agenda kind of team up and like play the field and see where everyone is. Okay, this dude's obviously trying to isolate Todo. Let's get some boogie woogies going and like disrupt that whole field. You know what I'm saying? So Boogie Woogie, I feel like, links Todo and Luck together for the fight, period. Those are the dynamic duo of the fight, is Luck and Toto. You know what I mean? And as far as N.A.G.A goes, N.A.G.A is obviously the shot caller in the back line. You don't really need to talk too much more about N.A.G.A's role in the fight past what I said about her in the beginning. As far as tactician, we covered Norman. Dende heals anyone who gets hurt and is a bait for the villains, for Norman to, you know, formulate a plan to defend against if they do try to isolate him. Range DPS inside of Gene Starwind, I feel like he's a good disruptor, kind of going into like Kiko's strategy there. I feel like he doesn't do too much offensively, but he's not a liability defensively as well. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then as far as fighter goes, Aoi Toto obviously does his thing with Luck. So I feel like the bottom line, when it comes down to this, is Giganto Machia is neutralized while Diane helps control the landscape of the battlefield after Mahito disrupts it, or after Shigaraki disrupts it.
Shigaraki, yeah.
I feel like Crocodile is hard countered by Luck after literally watching him fight for 30 seconds, because Norman's just going to say, Luck, go over there. And then once he's crystallized any one of the tanks, you know what I'm saying? Like, even Luck himself could probably end that. But I could see, you know, Toto coming in with a shoulder rush. I can see, you know, Diane coming in with Gideon and cleaning that up. You know what I'm saying? So Crocodile's out of here. Even though now it's going to sound, because I'm focusing so much on my hero team, that these villains are just trash. I want to focus a little bit more on the villains before they lose. Because Crocodile, before he loses, is going to be a huge problem visually for everyone. As soon as Crocodile realizes that he has a counter inside of Luck is not going to beat him the first time he attacks him. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna fucking shoot a lightning bolt, crystallize a patch of sand, and Crocodile's going to go, shit.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess I'm just a smokescreen for the rest of the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, throw up, you know what I'm saying, sandstorms and block vision as best as he can. Obviously, that's going to affect his team at the same time. You know what I mean? But hey, I mean that's
a big deal.
Yeah,
right?
but see, that is
big giant smoke screen. Not even. It's just like a sandstorm, like brewing and spinning. There's like a fucking typhoon of fucking sand.
Yeah,
that really disrupts the battlefield.
That's the weakness of the villain team, though, is that these are all very hard-headed, opinionated characters. And even though they might agree with each other, like I said in the beginning about how they all think they're manipulating each other, therefore they don't butt heads, eventually that is going to come to a point where I thought I was manipulating you. Wait, no. Why does it feel like you're manipulating me? Wait, no. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's going to be a dynamic that disrupts their teamwork. You know what I'm saying? Like the personalities of the characters involved matter. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And none of these people are going to let themselves be controlled entirely by anybody else on the team. The hero team, N.A.G.A is a very regal, a very classy, a very, you know what I'm saying, astute, a very everything. Like literally, like you can't help but listen to what she says. You can't help but look at her when she's doing a monologue. You can't help but just trust in her ability to lead. So even though we have strong opinions inside of Luck, inside of Toto, inside of Fubuki, even, or I'm sorry, we have Gene Starwind. Even inside of Gene Starwind, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, and I had a second medic too, it was Bisky. But I chose Dende because I didn't want to have too many like Hunter x Hunter characters. But I feel like all of them are at a point in their lives where they understand that they're not the leader of their respective teams and will listen to someone who is obviously showing their clout in a leadership position.
You'll get that on the protagonist side like 9 times out of 10 versus the antagonist side.
Exactly.
Like the antagonists, the threats you have, virtually none of them are going to listen to anybody. Even Hisoka, who is probably the most like, you know, level-headed of them and doesn't need to like run shit. He just agrees with you, but doesn't agree with you. Like, so it don't even matter. Like,
Ultimately, I see this coming down to a final trump card plan formulated by N.A.G.A and Norman, which utilizes Gene's trump card inside of his 19th shell, caster shell, right? Is it 19?
He's got a couple of them.
What's the black hole? Yeah, what's the black hole? That's 19, right? Or it's 9. It's 9 or 19. I remember it being a 9. Yeah, I think it's number 9.
It's 9. There's 4, 9, and 13. 4, 9, and 13 are the big shells.
Right. So you have the black hole shell inside of number 9, and that's his like ultimate attack. So I can totally see them having a conversation before this fight going, what can you do? What can you do? What can you do? You know what I'm saying? And Gene's gonna go, I can't really do shit. I mean, like I talk shit, I have a lot of sex, but I have this gun. and like this gun can like shoot black holes, you know what I'm saying? And like Norman and Agenda are gonna go, okay, like why did you wait so long to bring that up? And then they're going to go into the fight, and then like the fight's gonna happen the way that I said, and then ultimately at the climax of the fight, Gene Starwin's gonna shoot out a black hole attack, and I want to say it's not going to be effective, and it's just going to be like, holy shit, the enemy has something like that, while the backline comes around in the midst of that distraction and delivers game-ending content based on what they've seen, you know, the enemy team is capable of. This is already after Crocodile is neutralized. Giganto M.A.N.G.A is busy with Diane. You know what I'm saying? Like, Shigaraki's trying to do his thing, but he's not all that capable of a hand-to-hand fighter. He kind of just relies on the anime. Shigaraki kind of just relies on decay. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he's not all that capable. If we're going into the manga and he's got the full range of capabilities that current Shigaraki has, spoiler alert for people that are not current in My Hero Academia, heavy My Hero Academia manga spoilers coming right now. Mahito in the current story, and this is excluding like all of the random abilities that we've seen him use like one time. If he's used it like multiple times and it's familiar in his kit, sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's fine. But mainly he's going to be using decay blast waves in 360 degrees. You know what I'm saying? So
at
in
huge
that
range,
gigantic range. Can Diane do something about that? I want to say no, just because I don't want Diane to be a hard counter to decay. So I'm going to say that even if
can't
he tries
you just like
to
make like big fucking rifts in the ground that would stop them, you know?
It would
like,
stop it like momentarily,
like
but like if you make a rift, then like you make the rift and you separate like this patch of ground from this
technically
patch
goes
of ground.
down.
It'll go down and then come back up and keep going. So
or a plateau, like put him on a plateau and raise it into the sky as high as you can.
Could
so
do
then the
something like
range
that.
can't go down enough.
Right. Yep. Exactly. I can see Shigaraki saying "fuck this" and just jumping off. You know what I'm saying? Like Giganto Machi and grab me. But like, but that would still disrupt.
It's not a hard counter.
Yeah, but that'll still disrupt enough, because channeling time and like recuperation time, you know what I'm saying, diminishing returns are a big thing in this fight, I feel like, because when you have skill of this level all across the board, the margin of error is like this big. So like it might not be like a grandiose end to this conflict. Maybe one of the characters just like forgot to defend somewhere real quick, and another character took advantage of that tiny window, you know what I'm saying, and just ended the fight in a not crazy, grandiose, exciting way. I feel like that's the level of skill we're seeing in this fight. So I could just say someone slips up and forgets to think about something and then dies, because that's definitely very much along the lines of like the level of stakes in all of the stories involved with these characters. But like, for the sake of the conversation, I want to say Crocodile gets zapped and shattered. Mahito, right? So Mahito is going to be running around this battlefield. He's a one-shot kill. So is Shigaraki if they get close enough. There are definitely characters inside of My Hero team that can and probably will be touched by Mahito throughout the course of this fight. I want to say Dende loses just because he's such a huge target. You know what I'm saying? He's such a huge target that it doesn't make sense with him having no capabilities inside of a team this powerful for him to not just die at some point. You know what I'm saying? You can't just keep the backline healer protected at all times.
He can heal everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll see healing and immediately kill him. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So Dende's out of here, and you want to know what? I want to say Gene Starwin dies too. You know what I mean? But like, that's fine, because M.A.N.G.A is a utilitarian. The rest of the people on the team, most of the people besides Dende and like maybe Luck, understand that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Luck is probably because he's inside of Black Clover, someone who will try to save everybody's life. Dende is obviously a non-combatant and doesn't want anyone to die. So like, that is going to play a role in the team dynamic, even though I said M.A.N.G.A can rally anyone to her cause, but that's still going to be an issue. You know what I'm saying? So Jean and Dende probably die during this. You know what I mean? But if you, I'm not saying that M.A.N.G.A and Norman would come together and go, okay, this is not looking good. Maybe we should sacrifice the squishies. You know what I'm saying? But I can see them having that conversation. You know what I mean? Even if they don't press the button on it, I could totally see Norman and M.A.N.G.A being like, hey, man. Hey, man.
That's not off the table.
Yeah,
for sure.
hey, man.
That's on the
you know
table.
what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely. And if it comes down to that, I mean, like, I don't have a fairy tale team. You know what I'm saying? This is not a all of the heroes win the fight and no one is drastically injured. You ride off in the sunset on your horses. This is the world is at stake. Two people aren't really contributing too much to the fight outside of healing, which obviously we need, but you're the main target. Jean, you're kind of a disruptor. You're funny. We love you, but like, you're probably going to get your shit scrunched by Hisoka at some point in this fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's things like that, you know what I mean? That make it okay that such a relatively underpowered team beat such an overpowered one because they're okay with casualties inside of their weaker members.
Yeah.
So I feel like that is
yeah.
the deciding factor in this bout.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so hard for me to like counterpoint almost anything you said. I mean, obviously those were very well thought out, and you have such an intricate situation versus like me and Nick, where we had 3v3s.
Yeah.
Like it's I really don't see anywhere, I don't see any flaws in your logic. So like I really can't like refute anything that you said in your analysis, which is fine with me, honestly.
Right, and I love, as Kiko mentioned, like that we had 3v3s, but you didn't have an evenly balanced team, which like is I think more in the spirit of the Avengers like concept, right? Where it's like you usually have this like huge threat of like
odds, not
overwhelming. So you need a lot of a lot of members that work together in interesting ways, and then maybe some of them die. You know what I mean? Like I think I think it's some.
Well, I thought both of you would do that, and that's why I did 3v3, because I was like, this is
dude, I was like, I didn't know what to think about any of y'all's teams, bro. I was like, what are we going to see tonight?
I'm just like, I take this in the spirit of anime and manga when I was thinking of it. It's just like, we run 3v3s. We run 1v1v1s. Like we don't like this. I got more people than you type shit.
Yeah, you don't see it too often.
In anime and manga.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's usually like well balanced fucking fights. You have your CP9 versus your Straw Hats,
where there's 1 all the way across the map in isolated confrontations. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man, I don't
really
know.
Good. I like that a lot.
I wanted to incorporate like Mahito and Gigantomachia more, but like as versatile as Mahito's kit is, I feel like that is something that is like when my hero team sees what the capabilities of everyone is, they're going to go, okay, Crocodile's broken as shit, but we have luck. Shigaraki is broken as shit, but we have Diane. Gigantomachia is broken as shit, but we have Diane again. You know what I'm saying? Hisoka is broken as shit, but we have Toto. You know what I'm saying? We have the Toto luck combo. But Mahito is like the outlier here, where it's like, I don't have a definitive answer on anyone inside of my team.
He's definitely the hardest.
Versus Mahito. Mahito
no matter what,
is a really big deal. Yeah.
I had Gojo, but like his abilities, you can like totally encompass, or like you can take other characters from other series and mesh those like abilities against each other and see how they go. Like, but when you're talking about like touching the soul and like using humans as like, hey, I'm gonna throw a fucking transmogrified human as a grenade that's gonna fucking shoot out. It's like Mahito is so hard to like really quantify, and he's definitely one of those where it was like, man, because I thought of putting Mahito on my like Avengers team to help me against Gojo, because I was like, I need somebody else who could do 0.2% or 0.2 second fucking domain expansion. Like I need somebody else that's like working in the trending in the Gojo direction, and Mahito's the only one within Jujutsu Kaisen who's trending in the Gojo direction. So that's why I was like, man, I thought of putting Mahito on my actually Avengers team, which that was just
that would have been some shit.
Yeah, that feels weird, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, like I almost put some villains on my team too, but like I wanted to keep the theme of like N.A.G.A is a older, you know what I'm saying, experienced, grizzled ancient in the battle like realm, to where the more naive, you know what I'm saying, more like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed members of the team, if they were not okay with casualties of war, would look up to N.A.G.A and hear an older motherly figure telling them it's okay and here's why. She'll be able to explain utilitarianism to them in a way that everyone will be able to understand. She's wildly capable as a leader. One of the best, like if you just read Akame ga Kill, anytime N.A.G.A says words, you're like, I will follow her to the depths of hell. Like literally, like you will be like, holy shit. It's kind of like Captain America. It's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like any best captain you've ever seen, like N.A.G.A embodies all of that to me. You know what I'm saying? So on the side of things where, you know what I'm saying, people might not be okay with the course of the fight, N.A.G.A will rally them back towards her way of thinking. And as far as Mahito goes, the only way that I saw Mahito getting dealt with in this high stress conflict, with everything happening all over the place, is like Gene Starwin aims his 9 caster at Mahito, takes him out, and then dies doing that by the other members of the villain team. You know what I'm saying? That was the only way that I could see him, see anybody on here because, dude, no one can fight Mahito. You need a black hole for Mahito. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
exactly
it's like
right,
that.
yeah.
So I can see him being like, okay, I'm not going to get everybody with this, but this is the most dangerous dude. See you later, guys. Love being part of the team, but I'm out. Boom, Mahito's dead, decayed. You know what I'm saying? Like in the meantime, Hisoka breaks his neck, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like Gene Starwind dies, killing Mahito is the point. You know what I mean? So
man, Mahito could turn Gigantomachia into one of those fucking
into a bomb
or whatever.
Into a bomb.
No,
or an isomer.
Isomers.
Yeah, the
isomers.
those
isomers.
Yeah. But he would have to die for it. He would have to die to do that. Shigaraki is knocking out. Now Shigaraki has to fight Mahito in the middle of the fucking
That's not out of the realm of possibility.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, exactly. Team, like they're beefing hard, which is another thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's a major factor in the course of the battle is that these characters, even though they're wildly overpowered compared to my hero team, will just not get along with each other after a certain point. In the beginning, sure, they're going to be saying, you're my pawn, you're my pawn, you're my pawn, but eventually it's going to be revealed who all the pawns are in the moment of death. So it's like, I wasn't in control. You know what I'm saying? Like they're all gonna have that moment where they're like, and then they're gonna get taken out because of that. So, man,
this was a lot of fun. I had a great time. Honestly, like, dude, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was a wildly entertaining and interesting tie-in. I'm glad we did it. Shout out to all of you guys, though, for submitting
thank you.
villain teams to us. Now, obviously, there's only 3 of us, and we can only grab one team at a time. But clearly, you guys had plenty of suggestions. So best believe a part 2 is coming for this because I personally have not said enough for a topic like this.
Definitely.
So I am
Wait,
definitely...
what? You didn't say enough?
I'm so ready to revisit this topic sometime, probably towards the beginning of season 3 because it's so cool.
Sure,
but this was the finale of Tangential Tie-In season 2. You guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed it. This was an incredible conversation. I'm glad that we saved it for last because this was epic, and I'm glad that we could involve the audience in this conversation to some degree, even though it's an offline recording. But how do you guys feel about season 2 of Tangential Tie-Ins and this conversation?
It's been some fun conversations this year, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a lot of great topics. We've, really delved into some, different things that I mean, we did some part 2s, of course. When we do the part 2, it's like, what to expect. But like some other topics that I was, like Last Stands we did this year, which was really huge.
Last Stands was so good, bro.
There was a lot of really good ones that like, I wasn't like, it wasn't easy, like I had to think. I had to really get in my bag and I had to really spend some time. Like this one too, like I really spent a lot of time thinking about these matchups. So that's good. That's good. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we killed it. Hopefully we killed it. Let us know. Obviously, if you enjoyed the video, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you thought about our scenarios, our teams. Let us know about what you thought of the villain teams that our audience has suggested for us. Let us know anything. Hit us in the comments, man. Slap a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Check out all of our other content. And while you're down there, check out our link tree, man. That's going to be where you see us on all of our other individual social media accounts. So you can follow us individually, or you can join one of our massive online communities inside of Facebook or Discord. They're growing every day. We would love to have you be a part of it. The conversations are always lit. And while you're down there, you can see links to ways you can consume the Project Manga podcast inside of audio-only platforms like Spotify and Apple Music, and ways to donate to the Project Manga podcast, including our Patreon, which is going to give you a bunch of perks dedicated to you, ranging from early access to all of our content all the way up to an entirely separate weekly Shonen Jump review show where we talk about everything we don't cover on our main YouTube podcast. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the finale of Tangential Tie-Ins inside of the Project Manga Podcast Network. Thank you so much for season 2. You guys have been incredibly supportive and just a load of fun to have in conversation, and we can't wait for the future of the brand. We will see you guys for our last weekly Shonen Jump manga review of the season next Sunday, I believe. Yes. Yeah. And then that will wrap up season 2 of Project Manga. But we're out of here, you guys. Tangential Tie-Ins, assembling our own Avengers teams. Let us know what you thought. We're out of here. I'm Noxie.
Peace, y'all. It's Kiko.
And Nickums.
And we will see y'all next time.